Streaming cyberspace into your place, sanctioned by the Bootleg Racing League. Well, we're at Stafford Motor Speedway, and it's the Virtual Grip Network's 5th round coverage of the SK Modified Invitational Series, Season 39. VGN's opening segment before last round's Oxford's Plains race focused on how close the points race was. Well, after the Easter break tonight for round 5, the story has not changed much. James Lowe still leads the points as he has done ever since the opening round win at Martinsville. But Lowe has not been able to shake those who stalk him. Just 6, 7, and 8 points back respectively sit John Wilson, Jeffrey Harden, and 3-time champ Todd Liston. So the question coming into tonight will be, will the herd thin, or does the Stampede get more busy? To find out, pull the lever on the Lazy Boy and settle in for the simulated short track racing action that's about to stream your way. From the state that is known for lobsters and blueberries, you know what? They didn't correct us because that's Maine. We're in Connecticut. So let me wish you all a warm Connecticut hello and welcome on this Saturday night. Let me update the date. Oh, April 26th. We're good. 2025. Who's with us here today? Well, it's Jeremy Gridlock Scott joining yours truly, Bill Soupson, high up in the VGN broadcast booth to bring you our Bird's Eye View. We play Ryan Seneca, turning the knobs and pushing the sliders. All right. Jim Stafford sung I Don't Like Spiders and Snakes, but that Stafford has absolutely nothing to do with tonight's Stafford, which is Stafford Motor Speedway. Hopefully my partner Jeremy Scott has something more meaningful to say about tonight's venue.
Meaningful, we'll find out, but nonetheless, half-mile track in Connecticut, home of the Northeast Modified, so this is kind of fitting that the Outlaw SK Modifieds come here. I can say this, Jackaroot I am not, but I'm going to try my best. It's going to be a warm one, to say the least, and we've seen a lot of great things happen in practice today. It's a small field, but a tight field, to say the least, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens later on when the checker falls in 100 laps.
We talked about being a small field, but I did give a quick scan, and all the guys who are racing up front in the points are here tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into the grid. With no drivers, take a look at the points. With no drivers making season debuts at Oxford Plains, well, the number of drivers who have raced at least once this season, that's going to hold to 26, with 13 having raced in each of the previous 4 events. Let's talk about James Lowe. He has a win and has not missed the top 5 this season. After a 10th to open the season, the Canadian Goose, John Wilson, boy, he has been nothing but top 5s ever since. Jeffrey Harden leads all drivers in laps led this season with 107. You know, highest in the points with an Outlaw crown is Todd Liston. And get this, he doesn't have 1, he doesn't have 2, he's got 3 of them. It's been a hot and cold time for Trey Bloom this season. The Caveman, well, he's bookend a 12th and a 13th place finish with a pair of seconds. So he started the season with the second. Last time out was the second, in between a horrible 12th and 13th. Let's talk about Todd Kissing Cousins. Gets a lot of grief about being, well, a little bit careless on the track. But let me tell you something. There are 9 drivers with more collected incident points than Cousins. So maybe we can cut him a little bit of slack. He is exciting to watch race. Kurt Smith, well, he has a round 2 win at Hickory, but that's about it for him. Double Deuce Bruce Pearson went wire to wire last time out at Oxford, so nobody's passed him for 100 laps. Let's see if he can get to the front again. When is the Lipper going to take the next step on the competitive ladder? Well, for Chris Hazlip, it might not be this season. And still looking for his first top 10 is Tim Corder. All right, with that, the points are out of the way. Glad you are with us here tonight. Beautiful night to go racing in Stafford Motor Speedway here in the beautiful state of not Maine, but Connecticut.
Well, close enough. Nonetheless, Connecticut is in the Northeast, so we can call that. So, close enough as we're just about ready to end our practice. Checkered flag is out, and get the cars gridded up for 100 laps of racing.
Incredibly small field here tonight. I'm going to count this up here because I don't even count this far down. 4, 12, about 15 drivers. Let's go ahead and give you. Now, remember, this grid is not based on the qualifying time because there is no qualifying in a Bootleg Racing League. What they do is they invert the top 13 from the previous race and then grid them up that way. So we'll give it to you right now. That's going to put the number 13 of Bobby Hayes on the pole. And now a driver into the sophomore season, number 16, Ed Springer's going to be started on the front row. Be interesting. Both those guys would like to lead their first lap of the season.
Yeah, and Steve Hilbert, we've seen him to the back, to the front, to the back, to the front during these races. See if he can keep it up in the front from third position in row 2. And next to him, Kurt Smith in number 6.
A pair of Todds will fill up row number 3, Liston on the inside, Cousins on the outside.
In row 4, it's John Wilson and Jeffrey Harden making up that row.
This is interesting. Points leader James Lowe will be starting in 9th. Now, Trey Bloom is also within shouting distance of the points lead. He'll be starting in 10th.
In the 6th row, it's Bruce Pearson and Tom Hilbert rolling off 12th.
Pearson suffering the ills of going wire to wire last time out as he's well down the order. And the back row, well, that's filled with a couple of veterans. Quiet Man, Ruben Altice, and Mr. Aggressive. Oh, man, you get a nickname, Mr. Aggressive, and they put you in dead last. That's a recipe for excitement. You want to stay tuned for that. Watch the number 7, Chris Davis, back there, starting in last place. 14 drivers here tonight. Glad you were with us.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Bobby Hayes also at the front. I have a feeling that's going to take some drivers that we normally see at the front a couple laps to get up there as the lights will come out of the pace car soup. I've got to say, this is going to be exciting. We saw, like we said last week, it's not the quantity, it's the quality. We just said that 2 weeks ago, now I think about it. And I think we're going to see another fantastic race here for the modifieds.
There's another driver who's between the ears might have a different attitude. I'm talking about number 52 of Steve Hilbert. He had a great run 2 weeks ago in the late models, picked up his first podium. He's starting on the inside of row 2. Watch out for him. He may be feeling his oats right now. Let me turn over to my partner.
Pace cars in the pits. It's Bobby Hayes and Ed Springer. On the front row, green flag is out. And right away, Bobby Hayes gets the jump as it is his right. He goes deep to the inside. We're side by side for third place, fourth, third, fifth, seventh. All the way back as the rest of the field starts to straighten out.
Front 2 single file, then it looks like animals loading on the arc behind him. Now, we talked about Hilbert. Hilbert's on the inside. He would like that spot. He's got veteran Kurt Smith to his outside. This might be a case of somebody who's really feeling aggressive. Whoa, that's Todd Liston. That almost got into the other Todd Cousins. It's Todd on Todd damage going on behind him in row 2. Meanwhile, finally, look at that, the Chief. Steve Hilbert gets the best of the third position. He's going to bring Liston with him.
Oh, as you see, that's the nice side-by-side battle for fourth place. That's between Liston and Smith. Smith up high.
Oh!
Highlights work a little better than we've seen. There's a little touch at the wall there. And look at this, Liston already up 2 spots to third. He has his sights set on the leaders, Bobby Hayes and Ed Springer.
The Chief, Steve Hilbert, got loose, drifted up to the outside line, and they were all able to check up. Tip of the hat to all those guys behind. Now Hilbert's really stuck on the outside. The 52 having a hard time getting going. He's not feeling it right now. Here comes the Canadian Goose, John Wilson on the inside. They are single file in front of Wilson. They are 2 by 2 behind him.
Yeah, it's a one wrong move, and you'll lose 3, maybe even 4 spots here as a battle for fourth still continues between Wilson and Hilbert. I should say, well, those two is now fourth. Fifth goes single file. So everybody's starting to sort themselves out, but now you're seeing Jeffrey Harden trying to get in that 5th spot as he goes low. Almost goes down the pit road, and he's going to lose several spots.
And while that was going on, you saw on screen that Ed Springer drifted a little bit high coming out of 4. That allowed 3-time champ Todd Liston to get underneath him. Let's turn our attention up front, because right now, the friends, and we got a car in the grass, no yellow.
Yeah, 2 cars in the grass. It's Jeffrey Harden and Todd Cousins. They make it off the back stretch and still no caution, so they're fall way behind.
We got somebody who is challenging for the lead. It is 3-time champion Todd Liston. He started in 5th position, worked his way up to 2nd. Bobby Hayes drifts a little bit high. Bobby, I tried to get the camera on you before we lost the lead, but there were cars in the Connecticut Alfalfa, and we didn't get there in time. Now you lose that spot. Now Springer, who drifted high, lost that spot to Springer, would like to get in there as well. So listed out in front, no surprise there. Hayes and Springer trying to hang on, and then you got a hungry John Wilson behind. You go back and you think, where's our points leader? Well, James Lowe started in 9th. He's worked his way all the way up to 5th.
Yeah, that's a pretty good start for him as he tries to go look to the inside of Wilson for 4th place. But yeah, single file for the most part back. Can't wait to see the replay on what exactly happened there with Cousins and Harden. I think we'll see that here shortly. But yeah, single file for the most part. And actually, here it is. I'll let you. Oh, looks like a little touchy touch there, Soup.
Look at that. They said nobody gets the wall, and since they went off the racing line, we keep racing. And they did not go a lap down, so everything's fine for Cousins and Harden. They're just hoping right now for a yellow flag to come out, and they'll be able to come all the way around. And actually, when they went onto the grass, probably didn't hurt their tires all that much. Todd Liston out in front, Hayes, Springer, Wilson, Lowe behind him. I want to talk about Ruben Altice. He started on the last row. We mentioned that him was back there with Mr. Aggressive. That was Chris Davis. Well, Altice getting the best of that right now. He's up into 7th. Watch out for the quiet man.
Yeah, he's going to be more like a quiet assassin here, so not set him up, knocking down here shortly. As watching this battle here for 6th place, not much of a battle, but more of a size up with Altice. See what he can do to Kurt Smith. Right now, your biggest movers, as you take a look at the left side of your screen, it's Altice and Davis. They're 7th and 8th right now on the field, but they have been up 6 spots so far. As everybody's sorting themselves out, 13 laps into this 100-lap race, it's still Todd Liston and Bobby Hayes, 1 and 2.
As I scroll through the field right now, that's junkie racing going on. Everybody's all strung out. The guy that looks the most aggressive is the 99. Maybe we put our better camera on him. He is right now right behind the Canadian Goose of John Wilson. The 99 looks really good. Gets a good drive off of 2. Gets some momentum down the back straight. He does not force the issue. Wilson hangs on and gets to the inside. Now, I don't know if Wilson is that slow. It could be a case of Bobby Hayes holding these guys up as they are kind of lined up behind him. Bobby Hayes and Ed Springer, not usually guys you want to see racing up front early on. We'll see how they do. It's interesting, though, the tire wear on these cars. They may want to burn up some tire equity right now. If a yellow flag were to come out, it's all about tire temperature rather than tire wear in these SK Modifieds. Maybe these guys, Hayes and Springer, are out there working hard, hoping for a yellow so they can get another run at it. But right now, Wilson and Lowe are coming.
I know it's Wilson with a full tap. The wall coming off for turn number 4 is looks like Lowe is just hanging there. Yeah, it's just garbage time right now. Get in there, get the car settled, set it up for a later run. As Lowe's gonna let Wilson just open up a little bit of a gap, not too much. You don't want him to get away this early in the race. Of course, with Cousins and Harden near the back of the pack, it's only a matter of time before those two are caught up. There's the 5 of Todd Cousins, and right there, that's the 36 Jeff Harden. See if we can see where the leaders are in relation to them as they'll come off at turn number 4. And yeah, your leaders now are starting to get into 1s. So it's a little bit of a gap early, but again, we're still 18 laps in. A lot can happen here in these next couple laps.
Close to good. Here comes Lowe. He's finally gets to the inside of Wilson. Wilson stuck on the outside, and we talked about this guy. He started in the back row. Here comes Ruben Altice. Now Altice gets clipped by the Canadian Goose. Wilson got into him, trying to scoot underneath. I think that the 54 of Steve Hilbert got underneath. Oh, that was ugly.
And this benefits both Cousins and Harden as they now get to catch up to the back. Let's take a look at that replay. Yeah, it's just the outside shove. You don't want that. And it looks like what happened was Wilson just hit the wall, and Altice was just the innocent victim.
Well, that's maybe not the attitude that Altice has right now, but we're going to take one more look on it. This is Bruce Pearson, who had maybe the best view of it. Look at those cars, and then they start to look at the dive down low. Oh, I think a little bit of help from the car in front did a little blocking for Pearson. I think he got through a little cleaner than he wouldn't have otherwise.
Well, looks like according to our timing sheets of Kurt Smith, yeah, Kurt Smith is down in the pits. Well, Soup, who are you thinking about for this chat?
I want to talk to the number 7 of Chris Davis. Let's dial him up, and we'll see what he has to say. Chris Davis and Ruben Altice, 2 big names that started on the back row, and they were working their way through the field. Ruben got caught up in that one, and you were able to scoot by, Chris.
Yeah, I like VR. I was looking ahead a bit. I don't know who Ruben tangled with. I'm afraid it might have been my teammate John. I did start to see that unfold and was able to avoid it.
So let's talk about that with VR. Sorry.
You got it. Go for it.
With VR, is it easier for you to race and see what's going on ahead of you compared to the television screen?
Oh, 100%. I used to race on triples, but with VR, I can be going down the back straight and look over and see who's going down the front straightaway. I mean, it's just like real life, but there's nothing like the immersion of VR. The graphics are degraded a little bit, but the sense of being in the car is incredible.
Any nauseous issues, or was it an easy fit for you?
Any what issues? I'm sorry, Ahmed?
Nausea. I know a lot of people get like car sickness from it. Are you good that way? The belly okay?
So yeah, that's a great question. When I first started, definitely got motion sickness and had to try out like 10 minutes at a time. And then once I got over it a little bit, now it's perfectly fine.
That is interesting. All right, good luck to you, man. You're on the inside lane. Good luck. No, you are on the inside. Go get him.
So let's get this running, because I actually tried out VR myself, and I want to get somebody else's opinion on it, especially a racer, because I do enjoy VR. But again, let's get these guys suited and booted on the way. Pace car is back on the pit lane. It's Liston and Hayes. It's your front row. Springer and row make up row 2. Green flag is back underway, and Liston already going high back into the racing line. Second on back, side by side for position. Here comes Bobby Hayes, and Chris Davis making his way to the inside. 2 rows back. He might try and make it 3 wide going into 3, but not going to do it.
Davis does pump, though. He gets a little push to Springer, who got up into the outside of Hayes. That moved Hayes out of the way. That's a little bit of a combo shot if you had a cue stick in your hand. Nice going, Mr. Aggressive there. Looks more like Minnesota Fats.
Well, Ed Springer making his way into second, doing the best he can to kind of stay there, but Davis, he's just a little bit faster. Don't want to move him just yet, as the rest of the field near the back, there's Ruben Altice. He's another driver you're going to want to watch out for, because he's hungry. He wants to get up near the front. Cousins already with the back of the pack, and Harden's already made up a couple of spots from that incident that he had that did not cause the yellow early on.
Yeah, you talked about Altice. He's still out there. Let's look at Altice right now. He's working around the top side of the number 32 of Trey Bloom. Bloom really off the pace. The caveman not feeling it today, as I just saw him get motored around by Altice. Unless Altice is this it's on fire, but I don't think so. Bloom might just be taking it easy, but here comes the 70.
Well, Altice has the fastest lap of the race at a 19.354. And so that's he's quick today. Now Springer has to hold off Davis, because Davis wants to try and get around. He's looked every which way but sideways around the 16, and looking pretty good. And Davis, your highest climber so far at 11 positions made up, sitting there in the 3rd place.
Ed Springer, a veteran iRacer. We've seen him in a lot of other series. He is kind of new to the BRL, only his 2nd really full-time series right now. He is very serviceable as a driver up there. Gets really loose, though, coming out of 4. That's the mistake. He's going to capitalize on it. When your name is Mr. Aggressive, you don't have to ask him twice. Coming under the inside. Knock, knock, knock on the door. It's opportunity. And here comes Chris Davis. He's going to bring in points leader James Lowe with him.
And there we go. Now Chris Davis has his sights set on Todd Liston for the lead. He has the open track that he needed, making his way around 1 and 2.
You got to wonder how much of his rubber has Davis used up to get from the back row now to the 2nd position. Honestly, 2nd position probably not where he wants to be. He might want to consider letting James Lowe go by him, because if the yellow were to come out, he'd be stuck on the outside. Although I think the 7 feeling pretty confident right now in what he's got. So Springer and Hayes, who started on the front row, they're back racing in 4th and 5th. And the guy to watch, well, it's Altice doing it again. He's got another one. Here he comes on the inside of Bruce Pearson. You cannot hold the quiet man back. The 70 is on rails.
Well, there we go. Another position made. Now we're starting to see the field kind of even out a little bit, but watch out for Steve Hilbert, as he'll have Ruben Altice on his back bumper here momentarily. All right. So I mentioned the VR, and I have to agree with what Chris Davis is saying. It takes a little bit of time to really get used to it. Yeah, that motion. I don't normally get motion sickness, because I've been in race cars, I've been on roller coasters. the only roller coaster I got motion sickness because I bumped my head. That's either here or there. That's a honeymoon story. Anyway, it does take time to get used to it, and I had to do the 10 minutes and the 15 minutes and so on and so forth. But yeah, once you're in there, it feels great. It's even better now because if you're like me and you wear glasses, here's the 70 Altice going around the inside of Steve Hilbert, side by side through 4, and right now, Altice has that position to move him up to 6. Anyway, back to the point. You know, they've got little inserts that you can put in for your prescription glasses, which makes it wearing that stuff easier. So give it a shot. Just take your time getting used to it because it is a lot of fun.
Well, I know friend of VGN, Sean Ambrose, he uses virtual racing there in the little goggles, and he gets motion sickness, but it just gives him an excuse to smoke the wacky stuff there to soothe his belly. I think he enjoys the motions, yes, just for medicinal purposes only.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It ain't hurting me, so there we go. This battle here is really heating up as well because the 36 of Jeff Harden trying to get around John Wilson. That's for position. Look to the bottom left. There's positions advanced so far from the starting grid, but I got a nice little clump here from about 5th on back.
Well, you got right there is Harden and Cousins, the 36 and the 5. Both those drivers had that early spin where they went through the Connecticut weeds there, went into the inside, and they came back out, did not lose that lap. Then the yellow came out, they got back all that traffic position, so now they can see if they can work their way up. This is interesting. You got Wilson ahead of them. Oh, my goodness, where are you going? Oh, that's not where the racing line is. Jeffrey Harden, he loses a spot to Cousins.
That's actually going to be Altice going around Hayes as Hayes taking the high line. So now Ed Springer is next up on Altice's checklist as he runs his way into the top 5. Back to this battle from 7th on back. It looks like that Hilbert, I should say, my apologies, Trey Bloom, the caveman, trying to do all he can to keep that hornet's nest behind him.
Yeah, you saw on screen there as Altice made his way around Hayes at the exact same time that Harden got loose. Now stuck on the top side, that is the Chief, Steve Hilbert. Oh my goodness, the train is coming. We got a yellow flag, and I think it's Wilson. There's a little bit of a pool ball action there. It was Harden that got into the back of Cousins, that got into the back. That spun Wilson around. Here it is. Bingo, bango, boingo. Boink, boink, boink.
Yep. You know, they were fixing to get bent back there with all the bumping and banging, and next thing you know, John Wilson was the monkey that fell off the bed, so no more monkey for him jumping off the bed.
All right, let's take a breath. We're working lap number 43. We'll dial up car number 16, Ed Springer, and I will ask one question, then turn it over to my partner. That's how we play the game here on BGN for these Outlaw races. Number 16, Ed Springer. We'll dial him up. We haven't talked to him in a while. Hey, Ed! You started on the front row. You're hanging in there. Can you keep up front? Got Ed by surprise. See if he can come back to us and talk. Give him a little bit and figure out how his buttons work. I guess we're not going to get him. He's got his hands full of those. He's going to line up to the outside of James Lowe. We'll come back and try to talk to you again next time, Ed.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see what he can do, see if he can kind of hold his line as we'll at least 2 more laps on the pace car. But, man, Davis on the outside coming to the restart. That's going to be interesting.
Of course, Ed Springer, hailing out of Hawaii, owns a coconut farm, believe it or not.
Oh, I need to get back to Hawaii. I miss it.
He's still working on trying to turn that coconut into a telephone. They were able to do it on Gilligan's Island. He hasn't quite mastered it yet. Boy, if he gets that down, he's going to be in good shape.
Has he mastered into turning it into a horse?
A coconut into a horse? Oh, no, don't know that. That's bad.
Let's hop on the pace car. Oh, it's going to be Todd Liston and Chris Davis, row 1, James Lowe and Ed Springer, row 2, row 3, Ruben Altice and Bobby Hayes. Row 4, Bruce Pearson, double deuce alongside Steve Hilbert, Trey Bloom, and Todd Cousins making up row 5. The 2 drivers you'd expect near the front, but let's see what happens here. As the pace car pulls off once again, Davis will get on the loud pedal the second he gets into the restart. So, a little bit.
Oh, he hits the wall.
Part of the wall.
Oh.
Here we go. Oh, the 70 is up endo as Altice. No caution, which is kind of odd that race control would let that happen. And Altice might have some problems. He may be done as he stopped on the front straightaway. Field working their way around 1 and 2. Let's take a look at the replay, Soup.
Altice has pulled it off. That was interesting. Now, I do not believe there's enough horsepower and there is way too much traction for a guy to light up the tires on the restart. But Davis, the car just went to the outside. You know what? You got to wonder, maybe he had a little bit of virtual unreality.
I got to say, the steering wheel may have disconnected or something there, because that was very odd just to see that car turn right. We're looking out the back of Todd Liston. He's got James Lowe breathing down his neck. Although Chris Davis has only lost 1 spot after that tag. That's very helpful. Unfortunately, Ed Springer also was victim to that as he is down into 13th, about 8 seconds back. So plenty of time for him to make up and try and catch up to the back. We're about halfway.
I envisioned Davis just like grabbing the channel locks and like putting it on where the wheel was, and now he's driving, using a pair of pliers to turn the car. Get that wheel back on there. The 7 look really fast right now. Liston gets a little bit loose. Boy, look at the big names up front. You got Todd Liston, you got James Lowe, you got Chris Davis. They seem to be the class of the field. Bruce Pearson, remember, went wire to wire last time out. He started in 11th. He's racing in 4th right now. I think the 2 fastest cars might be Davis, but he's just put it in the wall. And poor Ruben Altice, I don't know what a guy's got to do. He had to call it a night. He was clearly the class of the field, and they just kept, they were not nice to him today.
Well, tonight, a little bit of a wiggle there from Bobby Hayes, but I'll tell you what, if he didn't have any bad luck, he would have no luck at all, as his race is effectively over in the pits. We're seeing double deuce Bruce Pearson in 4th place, Hayes, Bloom's made it up to 6th place, and Cousins up to 7th as well. So, like I said, expect those 2 drivers to make their way further up to the front.
Okay, this is where I get a little bit nervous. Now, I gave Todd Cousins a little bit of slack in the intro, talking about the 9 drivers that have more incident points than he does. That said, right now, he's in the position that usually gets him in trouble. He's got Hayes out in front of him, who's clearly is not fast enough to keep these guys behind him. Trey Bloom going underneath him, and then there is Cousin, who is just anxious to go. If Cousins got to be thinking, if I can get around the caveman, get around Bobby Hayes, I got a shot maybe to run down Pearson. Then yellow flag, I'm racing with the guys up front. Let's go, boys.
Yep, that's all it takes. It takes just 1 or 2 of those yellow rags to fly to get back into a position here to race up near the front. And yeah, the caveman doing all he can to kind of see if he can get around Bobby Hayes. Hayes has fallen off 4 positions from his starting spot. He fits full of water, number 13. As it's going to be interesting because they're both running about the same time, but I think the second that Bloom gets around Hayes, that's where he sees things open up. As he looks to the inside, they're side by side as Hayes gives that door open, and now that door is just going to be shoved wide open with the likes of Cousins, Harden, and Wilson.
I'll tell you right now, Trey Bloom, notorious for being very patient out there, and one of the natures of the beast of league racing is, I think Bloom said, I can't be as patient as usual because I got Todd Cousins behind me, who either fairly or unfairly has picked up this reputation. So Bloom makes it through, and sure enough, Cousins follows, and he brings along Jeffrey Harden as well. We really don't know how fast Harden is. He spent most of his time on the grass. We'll see what he can do now that he's got out there on the pavement. He's starting to run him down.
So we'll see what happens as we make our way through. As the battle for the lead heats up between Liston and Lowe. Looks like Davis also could be involved here. Lap 60 in the books, as this battle for the lead is going to heat up quite nicely, but also look behind. You've got double deuce Bruce Pearson in 4th, a bit ways back, but Trey Bloom, he's coming with a head of steam.
Talk little picture, talk big picture. The little picture is in the race, Todd Liston is leading James Lowe. In the big picture, James Lowe is your points leader. Todd Liston is one of those drivers that is within striking distance. Now, he was about 8 points back when he started this race, so right now he hasn't picked up much, but he can't afford to lose any. Lowe with a good run off of 4. He is working all over the back of Todd Liston. Liston noted for his consistency right now. He's a 3-time champion. Lowe has win after win after win in both this series and in the late model series, but no championships to go with it.
So we'll see what happens here. Championships are the key. It's a little tough to kind of put sporadic wins here and expect to get that title. It's worked for some drivers, but others, you got to be really consistent. As the top 3 have broken out to about a 4-second lead, separating themselves from the rest of the field, single file. As look at that, we've seen now that Trey Bloom made his way to the top 5. He's got Todd Cousins behind him. Then a little bit ways back, you got Harden, Hayes, and Wilson, 7, 8, and 9. But Pearson really coming onto his own, holding off the likes of Bloom and Cousins.
There's a couple of veterans out there that are doing their best impression of a cork in the bottle, one being your leader, 8 or 7, Todd Liston. Clearly, Lowe and Davis are quicker than Liston right now, but Liston trying to be smooth as dolphin skin, hit his marks, and make it hard for these guys to get around. Another guy that's going to be in trouble soon is the double deuce of Bruce Pearson, because Bloom and Cousins are coming. Now, it's interesting. You have basically the same situation mirrored from 1st, 2nd, and 3rd to 4th, 5th, and 6th. You got a driver that's very, very smooth up in front. That is Liston and Pearson. You got guys who are really quick, Lowe and Bloom behind them, and then guys with a reputation of being aggressive, Davis and Cousins in the 3rd spot. This is going to be fun. I don't know where the accident's going to happen. Stuck in between them is, we can't forget about Jeffrey Harden, who's coming as well.
Yeah, Steve Hilbert trying to hold off Kurt Smith, and that's not going to last long as Smith now makes his way to the top 10. By the way, if you're looking for next week's pole sitter provisionally, it's Tom Hilbert. So provisionally, Tom Hilbert. Ed Springer will make another appearance on the front row. Wilson and Hayes making hay as well for 8th place as we're watching this battle for the lead. Lowe is doing all he can to stay under that rear bumper of Liston, but I think the second that Liston gives up that position, Lowe and Davis, they're going to be set free to race for the rest of the running. 69 laps into this race. Woo-hoo, Davis trying to do all he can to keep up, and maybe that VR setup might be doing some good work there.
It'd be interesting to talk to Davis either if he podiums or in a future race about what happened there as he put the car on the wall on the restart. Really weird. Having a hard time maybe now staying up with the front 2, maybe sitting back, maybe leaving a little bit of gap, trying to get a run on the front 2. Oh, a great drive off of 2 is James Lowe. He puts a nose down in there. Oh, dives it in deeper than Confucius in a submarine is James Lowe. He's going to get the pass made. New leader, number 99.
And that's exactly what he needed to get up near the front. Now Chris Davis will take advantage of Lowe going high, wide, and handsome through 1 and 2. They're side by side for 2nd place. And once again, Davis dives to the inside. One car in the pits. It's Tom Hilbert in the number 25. He's going to come in the pits. Not sure what's going on there, but he's going to be set 1 lap down as this battle for 4th place heats up with Pearson and Bloom. Bloom to the inside of Pearson. They're side by side. Pearson's not going to let him have it that easy, but Bloom charges around the inside. Cousins also going to try his hand to see if he can gain a position as well.
I told you that the front 3 were mirrored like the positions 4, 5, and 6, and you're going to see the exact same thing happen right now as Pearson, who was leading the train of 3, is going to lose both of those spots the same way that Lowe and Davis got around Liston, Bloomin, and Cousins get around Pearson. Oh, but now it's even worse because here comes Kissing Cousin. He does not want to kiss the number 32. Trey Bloom puts it on the wall, and Cousins is on a roll. He gets another spot.
That was a wonderful move there for position. So Cousins now in the 4th, Bloom to 5th place. So it's like he not gained 1. And of course, look at who's also behind him. It's a 36 of Harden. So Pearson's lost a couple of positions, but for the race, he's up 4 so far. This has been a fantastic battle here in the middle. We're still watching the battle for the lead as well, as Lowe and Davis are up near the front, but Cousins needs a train from 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, all the way on back as they're starting to gap up as Cousins gets on that loud pedal even quicker. 25 to go.
I'm going to try to do is take a look at what Todd Cousins is running right now, clean laps. He's running a 19.73 is what he's doing. And I want to compare that to what our leader is doing if we can. Let's see what James Lowe is running right now as far as lap. 19.4 for Lowe.
Yeah, that's a nice little interesting how Davis is just running just a couple of hundredths faster, but still not able to close in on that gap. Oh, I take that back. He's close in a couple hundredths, but still, you've got Todd Liston also reeling in, trying to stay with this lead battle. As they see on the bottom right, those are the intervals in time that the three drivers are on. Ryan really pulling up the graphics, and I love it.
Those are interesting, but the guy that I was wondering is Todd Liston, who's back and forth. He does not have the pace of Lowe, so I don't expect him to get up there. He's going to need a yellow. Unless Cousins could be thinking, you know, Soup, it's pointless for me to race the wheels off of this car to get up there and then have nothing for them for the last 20 laps as soon as it's boogie time. So maybe he's just back there waiting for a yellow, figuring that he'll make up the track distance that way and then go racing as the drivers are working lap number 80 right now. Lap number 80 is what James Lowe is. He comes out of quarter number 4, and you know what that means. If you're thinking about winning, get the mirror ball a spin and grip the groove, make your move. Get out there and show them what you can do. Put on your dancing shoes because working lap number 81 with 20 to go, it's time to boogie. There it is. I missed the post.
That's fine. Fine by me. I've missed the post several times, so don't feel bad. This is why they don't have me do music anymore, or in that. All right, still watching this battle for position between the 36 of Harden and the 22 of Pearson. That's for 6th place. Something I wanted to point out too, Soup, in that other graphic that we have with the lap times. The worst time loss that Liston had, the worst time he was slower, he was only 10 slower in one lap. The rest of the time, it was maybe 300s, 400 slower. So Liston is able to take hold with the other two. It's just a matter of somebody trying to slip. I think that's what he's waiting on. Because look at Davis. He's falling back into the clutch. It's just a little bit of Liston, a little bit of a wiggle from both of those drivers. But it's my favorite time, Soup. It's lap car time shortly.
Indeed. We'll see how that plays out. You know, we talked about the 4 drivers that were in the hunt. That was Lowe and Liston and the Canadian Goose John Wilson and Jeffrey Harden. Well, Harden sits back right now in 6th position, Wilson in 8th. The guy they were chasing, James Lowe, is out in front. The only guy who's not going to lose a ton of spots will be Todd Liston. In fact, when I think if things were to stay the way right now, Todd Liston might jump from 4th position to 2nd. Assuming that he is going to be able to stay in 3rd, I think maybe Davis might be cooked. I think the 7 is done, and I think the 87 is ready to get him back. And then we'll have a battle for the front.
Last time when we saw the onboard from Liston, we saw that Davis with a little bit of a loose condition through 3 and 4. So I think those rear tires are starting to go away on the 7. So we'll see how much longer he can hold off the 87 of Liston.
Well, Liston, of course, started in 5th and spent a lot of time racing his racing line out in front. Davis has had to work his way through the field, put the car to the outside wall a little bit, so who knows what's going on there. But those guys know how to bring it home. Only 12 laps to go.
Interesting here is Liston that does all he can to look to the inside of 3 and 4. Looking at the times, yeah, Liston, once again, he's actually this time about 0.6 of a second faster. But that's what they're running right now. They're running a little bit faster times now with the fall off. And of course, you've got Springer, Hilbert, and Smith up ahead. They're going to have to work that lap traffic. But we know here in BRL, the Outlaw Modified Series, if you're going to be a lap down, you got to race gentlemanly about it. And they normally do.
Steve Hilbert in a nice battle with Springer. Let's look at that. There they are.
It's a couple car lengths now, but those two really have done well. You got to give a shout out to Ed Springer, as he ran near the front the first half of the race quite nicely. So great to see him run well. Now he's backing and falling back just a little bit. It happens, but we're looking out the back of Steve Hilbert as there's your leaders, Lowe, Davis, and Liston. just closing in ever so slightly with 9 laps to go.
Interesting dynamic. We talked about Steve Hilbert. He is the last car on the lead lap in 12th position. We talked about his brother, little brother, Tom Hilbert, came into pit lane a while ago. Well, he's called it a day. He's 20 laps down, but he's in 13th. Oh, no! As we look at that there.
Oh, that was a heck of a save by Liston. Whoever gets to interview him, that's going to be the question of the day, as Liston tried to go to the inside of Davis, who 3 and 4 was not able to make that happen. The only person that's helping now is the 99 of James Lowe. He's opened up to an 0.8 of a second lead, goes to the inside of Hilbert and puts him 1 lap down.
And second and third get through as well, just to put a period on my point there. Next round, it's going to be a Hilbert front row. Tom and Steve.
It's going to be interesting. Ruben Altiz coming up through 14th. I cannot wait to see what happens next week as well. Provisionally, of course. Lowe, Davis, and Liston working 6 laps to go. A couple of other lap down cars to have to deal with.
Oh, going around is Pearson.
As Pearson goes
Easy,
around, the leaders go the outside.
He's going to back up on the track. Oh, it's okay.
You don't want to do that. Is no caution, as we are still green, as the leaders working their way around slowly. 5 laps to go for Lowe, Davis, and Liston. Oh, that could have been all sorts of nasty.
I guess there was clear track and he knew it, so he had, but it just takes my breath away when I see a car perpendicular to the way it's supposed to be going, and he puts it in reverse, pulling out there. But it was good. Pearson, it worked for him.
You're going to need a little bit of a, it may not be a Hilbert front row. Looks like provisionally it's a Tom Hilbert Pearson front row.
Look at that.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there as we're watching the battle between Jeffrey Harden and John Wilson. And for 6th place, 7th place.
We got Wilson in the 75 and 7th, and Hayes coming up behind him. I wonder if Bruce Pearson, double deuce, you do a little sandbag in there, you spin that car out intentionally so you can drop back into 12th position, start on the front row next race. Nah, he wouldn't do that.
He wouldn't want to do that. 2 laps to go as we're on the back straightaway, so they'll see the white flag this time by. One more chance for Liston to get around Davis for that second spot. White flag is out. And wow, Kurt Smith is next up on the lap down train for James Lowe. How often do we say that? Leaders working their way down the back straightaway. Still one last chance for anyone to make any position except for the lead. James Lowe comes off of turn 4, looks up, sees the checker flag. He'll win at Stafford. 2nd place goes to Chris Davis. 3rd to Todd Liston.
29 laps down in 13th position. Tom Hill will be starting on the pole inside of Bruce Pearson for next round, with big brother Steve right behind him on row 2 on the inside. The racing is over. Our broadcast is not. Don't go far. We'll give you a few little commercials there. You can see what VGN is all about. We'll come back, run down the entire finishing order, talk to Lowe, Davis, and Liston before we put a shoe lock on the gate, because we don't want to lock it up. This is doubleheader Saturday night. You're watching VGN. Don't go far. Welcome back to Stafford Motor Speedway and the Virtual Grip Network's 5th round coverage of the SK Modified Invitational Series Season 39, sanctioned, of course, by the Bootleg Racing League. The results are in. Let's give them to you now. 14 drivers took the grid. I'm going to take the top 7, leave the back 7 for my partner. James Lowe started in 9th position. He came into the race leading in the points. He's going to leave here leading in the points by a little more than he came in with. So another win for James Lowe on the looking for his first championship here in the Outlaw Series. Chris Davis started on the back row, went all the way up and finished in 2nd. Didn't have enough for Lowe at the end there, but nevertheless a nice run for him. We'll talk to him in just a minute. Todd Liston, well, he's going to move into 2nd in the points as he goes around both Harden and Wilson as he gets a 3rd place finish. Another Todd Cousins. Boy, he put on a nice show. A yellow flag might have made a little bit of a difference for Cousins, but he'll have to settle for 4th. Nevertheless, a good showing. Trey Bloom and Jeffrey Harden go 5th and 6th. And the last car there, Canadian Goose John Wilson in 7th.
Bobby Hayes finishes 8th, and it's Kurt Smith 9th. Rounding out your top 10, Ed Springer, so good showing from him. 11th is the 52 of Steve Hilbert. Your provisional front row for next week is double deuce Bruce Pearson and Tom Hilbert, who ended his race in the pits. And, of course, Ruben Altice. We had that incident early on. Endo. And he ended his race in 14th position. 14 cars running, and we had only 12 at the finish.
All right, let's go ahead and talk to our race winner and points leader, James Lowe. James, nice job. You started back in 9th. You took your time. Couple opportunities for you on the inside, and then you finally had to make the pass there on Liston, and once you got that done, it was pretty clear sailing.
Yeah, it was a really fun race. The car felt really good, and I could tell when I was riding behind Todd there that he was getting loose off the corner, so didn't want to make the same mistakes as a couple weeks ago and wipe anybody out trying to get by him, so I just kind of waited and minded my time there, and eventually I was able to get up beside him and get in the lead there, and then we just kind of held the gap there at about a half a second, just kind of riding.
All right, I'd love to go through the records and see the history of this thing. You have a lot of wins in both these series, but you've never picked up a championship, at least in these broadcasting series that we do here tonight. Is that just because your schedule, you've never been able to race a full time? Is that why that is, or what do you think the reason might be?
Yeah, I think back when they were broadcasting before, it was the main series, and I mean that's back when you had J.R. Shepard and Kenny Kibbe.
That's a good point.
All the big hitters. So it was a lot. It was something. So not to say it's any easier now. It's just I'm managing to get lucky with these positionings at the start, and just able to mind my time and take care of my tires and get up there.
I'm sorry to do that to you. That was an obvious answer that I should have known better. Well done. Well, congratulations on the win here tonight, and we'll see you down the road.
Yeah, I appreciate it, sir.
A lot of basketball players in the NBA that don't have championships because they played during the Michael Jordan years. I think that's kind of what James Lowe was telling about there. All right, Jeremy, who you got?
I got a good Jordan story, but that's for later. 2nd place, Chris Davis joins us. All right, let's get the 800-pound gorilla out of the room. What the heck happened on that restart?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, good enough. You got to move the fifth, huh?
I was trying something on the restart, and it didn't work the way I wanted. And then I got really lucky because I hit that wall harder than I thought, or harder than iRacing thought, because my crew chief said no damage.
Well, apparently trying to hit the wall on the restart does not work. That's what I've heard. But nonetheless, regardless, a great showing from you. Up, let me go back to my screen. 12 spots, 2nd place. So, I mean, in spite of that little incident, you might have put somebody upside down. Still was a good showing.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know how that affected the people behind me, and I'll have to go watch the replay and saw that how it played out. It's hard when you're starting outside here and you have, Todd Liston to the inside and James Lowe back there. I was just going to try and give it a go and try and see what I could get done on the outside, and was trying to get a good jump there on the restart, and the jump didn't work the way I expected.
But one thing that seemed interesting to me this week compared to the past several weeks is the outside line actually worked a little bit better than what we normally see at different racetracks.
It does to a point here at Stafford. Anybody who listened to the VGN Weekly, this track is pretty close to where I live now here in New England. And it's a very racy track. You'll see that a lot. And that line actually changes at Stafford as the tires wear out. But what I was finding is you could kind of run on the outside, and then your right rear would get angry at you, get hot, and start to get loose.
Well, regardless, a great showing from you. Congratulations. Anyone you want to thank?
Well, I definitely want to thank my teammate, John Wilson, the Canadian Goose. Our team is continuous development racing, and that's what we're trying to do every week in both our racecraft and our personal lives. Always trying to get better. And that's what I'm looking to do here. So my apologies for anybody I stacked up behind me. Hopefully won't ever do that again. And then I also, I want to thank the BRL. You guys up in the booth, Ryan behind the dials, and it's just a great league and something that I look forward to every weekend when I can. So thank you guys.
Great job. Second place, Chris Davis. Thanks for joining us. All right, Sue.
I got Todd Liston. Let's dial up the 3-time champ. Todd, you led a lot of laps. You just couldn't keep the car down low. You could see it slowly starting to get away from you. Nothing you could do to keep it down there?
Yeah, you know what, Soup? This is one of those days. I've been sick, and it just got worse and worse yesterday, this morning. And the fact that I was even up there competing with James, somebody of the caliber of James, Chris is always strong at this track. I'm happy with a third. I'm happy with my showing. We did everything we could. Props to James and Chris. They both raced me real clean, and I know I was holding them up there for a little bit. I was trying to control the pace and I was hoping to stack them up together, to be honest, and get them battling a little bit so I could pull away. But I made a little mistake on corner exit, and James was able to get under me, and here we are. But we doing good for the points, and hopefully we'll keep it going.
I think you're going to pass a few guys. I think you're both going to get Wilson and Harden in the points, so you'll be within shouting distance of Lowe. You got the Gatorade, the electrolytes, and the IV set up there for a little break between the late models. You're going to be able to run those 100 laps?
I'm a little short of that setup, but I'm pretty close.
Okay. Well, since you're not feeling well, we'll let you out of here. Maybe we'll get to talk to you in the second race. Good luck to you.
Hey, Soup, I want to give a shout-out to my wife first before we head out of here, just in case I don't do as well in the late models. I want to give a shout-out to my beautiful wife, Caitlin. She's due with our next bundle of joy this week. So if you don't see me next week, that's why.
Okay.
But here we go.
Hey, if you're struggling for names, Soup works for boys and girls, so just keep it in mind.
I'll keep that in mind, Soup.
All right. You got it. With that said, that's going to wrap it up here for us. When are we going to do this again? Well, there's no Easter break coming up, so we'll be right back next week. We're going to Myrtle Beach, where the Snapping Turtles will turn your car. That'll be fun. But before then, we're going to see all these guys again in the late models here at Stafford Speedway in just a few minutes. Don't go far. You're watching the Virtual Grip Network, and we'll see you in a bit.